All right, ready to dive into episode 4 of Agatha All Along. This one, let's just say it gets intense.
You're not kidding. Talk about a whirlwind of emotions and magic. This episode really throws us for a loop.
Right. I mean, we start off with a funeral, which is never exactly a lighthearted affair.
Yeah, and a witch's funeral. Let's just say they do things a little differently.
Understatement of the century. Okay, so Mrs. Hart's funeral, everyone's all somber, and then bam, poison etiquette becomes the topic of conversation.
You have to admire the writers for finding humor in the darkest of places.
It's definitely a balancing act, but it works. And speaking of making an entrance, Vidal, she does not disappoint.
Oh, she is a force to be reckoned with. That green outfit alone, iconic.
Right. She owns that color. But it's not just the look, it's the whole vibe. You can tell she's got a history with Agatha, and it's not all sunshine and roses.
There's a definite tension there, a sense of unfinished business. And that little comment about Agatha being a scar, chills, man, chills.
I know. It's like, what happened between them? I need answers.
Don't worry, we'll get there. This episode lays down some serious groundwork for what's to come.
Okay, good, because my mind is already spinning with theories. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, can we talk about the second trial?
The haunted house. Oh, man, that was a wild ride.
It was like a fever dream, but with more magic and the music. Haunting.
I know, right? It's like it gets under your skin.
Yeah.
But it also serves a purpose, you know? It's not just there for ambiance.
Totally. This show is great about using music to tell the story. And speaking of stories, that catchy tune from last episode, it's back, and it's got a deeper meaning than we thought.
It's all connected to Alice, isn't it? Her family history, that mysterious witch's road.
Right. And we finally get some answers about Alice's mom. This episode really gives us a glimpse into her past.
And can we talk about the stakes? I mean, 1 minute they're singing, the next they're facing down a creepy winged creature.
And poor Wiccan. That fall looked nasty. I was genuinely worried for a second.
Me too. But there's something special about him, that's for sure.
Agreed. But, okay, back to Agatha for a second, because I feel like we need to unpack her reaction to all of this. I mean, she freaks out when Wiccan falls, right? Like, more than a friend or a mentor should.
There's definitely a maternal instinct there, even if she tries to hide it. But there's also something else, something a little darker, maybe.
Right. It's like she's trying to protect him, but also control him, you know?
And then there's that final scene with Rio.
Oh my God, that ending, don't even get me started. It's like someone threw a bucket of ice water on me right as things were heating up.
That accusation in Rio's voice when she says, "That boy is not yours," is bone-chilling. It's clear there's a lot more to uncover about Agatha's past.
Yeah.
And how it's connected to Wiccan. Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
$1 million is right. This show keeps getting better and better, but man, they know how to leave us hanging.
That they do.
That they do.
Okay, so Agatha's past, right? Let's dig into that because, wow, talk about a complicated history.
That's an understatement. I mean, romantic rivals, ancient curses, haunted houses.
And 70s rock and roll. Don't forget the fashion show in the middle of it all.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Honestly, those outfits were kind of amazing. Even with all the drama and the magical battles, this episode had some genuinely sweet moments, too. Like that scene between Agatha and Wiccan when he asks her about her scars.
Oh, that scene was everything. You can tell Wiccan just instinctively senses her pain, and the way he reaches out to her, so pure.
And for a moment, just a moment, Agatha lets her guard down. You can see the scared girl she once was before the walls went up.
It's those glimpses of vulnerability that make her such a compelling character.
Totally. Because let's face it, as much as we love to hate her sometimes, we also kind of want to root for her.
Absolutely. Which is why that ending hit so hard. The tension, the accusations.
Picking up right where we left off. And yeah, things just got real. I mean, Agatha's past, Wiccan's safety, it's all intertwined now.
And that cliffhanger. Talk about an emotional gut punch. I mean, we knew things were complicated, but this episode just throws gasoline on the fire.
You said it. Okay, so let's break this down. Rio Vidal's final words, they keep echoing in my head. That boy is not yours. It's like she's accusing Agatha of something truly awful.
Right. And the way she delivers that line, it sends chills down your spine. You can feel the weight of their shared history, the pain, the betrayal. It's clear that Agatha's scar runs deep and it has everything to do with Rio. But how does Wiccan fit into all of this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is Agatha truly trying to protect Wiccan, or is there something more self-serving at play here? Is she trying to use him somehow? And that final scene, the way it just cuts off as Rio delivers that line, talk about masterful storytelling. It's like the writers are holding us hostage with our own curiosity.
I know, right? And the thing is, even without all the answers, this episode was incredibly satisfying. We got to peel back more layers of Agatha's past, and the music. Don't even get me started on the music.
Okay, final thoughts, because I need to know what you think. Where do we go from here? What's your prediction for the rest of the season?
Prediction. That's tough. I mean, this show is anything but predictable. But if I had to guess, I'd say we're headed for a major showdown. Agatha versus, well, everyone who doubts her. And Wiccan, he'll be caught in the middle of it all, forced to choose a side.
Okay, now that is a recipe for disaster, and I am living for it. This show just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to step back and let our listeners digest everything we've uncovered. But don't worry, we'll be back soon to dive into the next episode, and trust me, it's going to be a wild ride. Keep those theories coming, and remember, magic is everywhere,